Welcome to Accelerate My Practice. So glad you could join us here today. Not sure where you're at, but here it's a beautiful place. And, we're having a good old time. We're going to be talking about what you do on the phone when the phone rings.
Oh my gosh, what do you do when the phone rings?
It's just a blast. So, today will be all about those questions you get. How much is this procedure? Do you take my insurance? What other, whatever else we can think of.
I need to cancel my appointments.
I think we did that one last week, if I'm not mistaken.
Absolutely, yes you did.
But
Absolutely.
It'll be a blast. So we want to start off with, tell me if this person describes some of your patients calling in asking about treatment. It brings up a point that is valid, and hopefully you're not ever getting patients who are calling you up badgering that badly. And that's why we wanted to compare and contrast something that's just over the top silly. But it is a reality that we have to face, that we have people who are calling in who are price sensitive. And as we've discussed in previous shows, the price sensitivity is not really around dentistry, it's around discretionary spending. They're trying to save money here so they can spend it over here. It's not that they don't value dentistry, they just don't understand the differentiation of it. So when the person calls up and says, how much is it? Even if you know what the answer is off the top of your head, don't tell them right away. Say, let me look it up. And then while you're looking it up, start asking questions. What is important to you? So what's important to you about dentistry? Why are you calling me? Did you leave another practice? Have you not seen a dentist in 10 years? See if you can find out what's a hot button for that person. Because price might not actually be the issue at all. The issue very well could be that they just got upset at their last dentist. The last person took advantage of them, they felt, and overcharged because the product was no good. They just did a filling or a crown and it already fell out and fell apart, and thus they don't value it. So we got to understand what it is that has them calling you in the first place. And do they value it? Are they someone who is a pig farmer and could care less what they look like? Are they someone who sits in front of a camera periodically and appearance is important? Because now you have something to work with. Also, what I would do is differentiate through, after you get done asking the questions, I would start differentiating about our practice and what makes it different. There's a lot of dentists you can obviously choose from, and they're all going to charge a different fee. And here's why they charge a different fee. Some people use the best materials, and some people don't necessarily care about that. Some people use the best labs and some people don't necessarily care about it. Some people do a lot of continuing education so they can deliver a better product, and some people don't care about it. And then use a metaphorical example. I can go to McDonald's and get what they would call a hamburger, or I can go to a nice place, a restaurant, and get a hamburger that's actually made from hamburger or whatever it's made from at McDonald's. And there's a correlation there that people can relate to and understand. They know that the nutritional value of that hamburger at McDonald's is not nearly as good as the one I'm going to make at home from a health perspective. It's cheaper, but it's not as good for me. So if we can start drawing parallels that they understand. And then the educational piece, we need to explain to them what that means. Because just because I got a lot of education doesn't mean I'm smart. Doesn't mean I deliver a better product. Here's the beauty of my doctor in my practice. Does so much continuing education that it allows him to deliver a product that will last a lot longer. And if you ever gone to a dentist where they do a restoration of filling a crown and then it falls out and you're going back a lot of times, because that might be very well why they're calling in. See, that's the beauty of education. Our doctor does a lot of continuing education for this very purpose, and it's to prevent this sort of stuff. And so if you tie all those things together, what you now have is a patient making a decision not just on price, but on materials, on lab, on education, on duration, on the amount of time out of the practice or out of work coming to the practice. So now it's 5 or 6 factors that are part of this. And while having this conversation, we've built a relationship with them.
When you're taking a moment to ask the patient some questions while you're supposedly looking up the price, you are actually figuring out if you just have a price shopper on the phone, or if you actually have somebody that can be a long-term patient for you, right? So everybody wants to create that patient experience, create value for patients, but some of them, they're just price shopping. And so by taking that moment of having that pause before you give them the actual answer to their question, just getting some more information, data gathering, you're determining if you just have a price shopper or not, which you have the complete choice of, do you want to accept this patient in the practice or not?
Because I believe you can divide the market into 25% of the people, they want the best. They don't even care about the price, they just want the best. I believe there's another 25% of the market that all they care about is this British guy. Price is the lowest, it's all I care about. But then you got the other 50% of the market that could kind of go either way depending on what it is. And I think that's the majority of us, right? You know, there's technological things that I get really excited about and I want the best. And then there's a pair of blue jeans that I just don't care about. And it's all about the value proposition we can provide. So I think if you understand that, and if it is that 25% that are just that British guy, you don't want him.
Right.
If that's all he's asking for is, hey, can you skip the anesthetic, skip the topical, don't use the nurse, I love that, and just yank it out really, really fast because this is for my wife, that's probably not a patient you want.
Exactly, and be okay and having the confidence of saying, you know what, you're probably not going to be the right patient for our practice. With the experience that we provide, you might want to keep on shopping around.
So in true form, as we've been doing for the last few weeks, we're going to role play this. Char's going to beat me up, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
And make this wildly difficult and probably throw something at me I'm completely not expecting. So it's fascinating to me, and we did a show 6 months, 9 months ago on what percentage of people have dental insurance now versus did 5 years ago. What's fascinating to me is less people have dental insurance now. So why we're all fighting over the PPO patient, I don't understand, when there's more cash patients according to the data. And in order to appease those cash patients, we've got to be able to provide more value than anybody else.
Absolutely.
That's what this whole conversation is about, is communicating more value than anybody else relative to the price of dentistry. And I think if you do it, you're going to win more times than not. I'm not saying it'll be 100%, but man, if I can even get you to 50% of capturing these phone calls, I think it's an amazing, amazing turnaround.
Absolutely. And then you'll be able to develop longer relationships with those patients instead of the ones that are just looking for the cheap deal for insurance.
Absolutely. I hope you enjoyed this show. If you've got other topic requests for us, please get those over to us via email. If you got questions on what we discussed here, get it to your coach or shoot it to us and we'll get them answered for you. Otherwise, we look forward to seeing you next week here, 8 a.m. Mountain, 10 o'clock on the East Coast. Until then, have a wonderful day.
Have a great week.
What if you could have the practice of your dreams? What's holding you back? Imagine a life where you have everything you ever wanted.